I think that entrepreneurship has killed the 9 to 5. You don't hear about people wanting to go to school to be doctors. You don't hear about people going to school wanting to go to school to be dentists. You don't hear about people wanting to be police officers. You don't hear about people being the things that we need. We need people to work at Walmart. We need people to work at Sam's Club. We need people to work in the dental office. You don't hear anybody wanting to be there. If you ever look on social media or talk to children, everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to be something that has nothing to do with a 9 to 5. People are not even talking about going to college. They're going to college for the experience, not really to go to college to be something. Mm-hmm. So I think that we glorify what entrepreneurship from social media, and because we are consumer based, I do think that people do not want to have a job. They think having a job is a joke.
Hello everyone, my name is Joyce and welcome to Break The Code, a immersive experience that allows people to address their perspectives and issues in today's society. Today the topic is, did entrepreneurship kill 9 to 5? Now before we begin, let's introduce the panelists.
Hi, my name is Clarice and I'm the owner of SRC Kitchen and the host of Fellowship, a YouTube series, and I own multiple businesses.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nadim some more. I am a plant-based chef and a public speaker. I'm the owner of For the Soul Culinary LLC, and I also work full-time in asset management as a technologist.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ivory. I'm the owner of Alex Lashes, and I am in beauty.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tony. Pharmacist by trade. I don't practice a whole lot anymore, but I own a tailoring shop, a little bit of real estate, and I also own a pharmacy consulting company.
Hi, my name is Mike. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. Right now, I'm a full-time real estate investor.
So Mike, you're a real estate investor. What
Correct,
made you go into that career path?
I've always known I wanted to be in real estate. Most of the people I knew that was touching the kind of money I wanted, they were in real estate. And from my last business, real estate just made the most sense for me, leaving that.
Ivory, lashes, big step. What made you follow that career path?
I've always loved beauty. I wanted to do hair. I have a degree in tourism and hospitality management. So I feel like that's almost like giving people experience with great customer service. And I just like making people feel good. I like looking good. I feel like when you look good, you feel your best self. And I just love everything about it. I love meeting different women, men from different walks of life. And you could really make money in beauty. People sleep on it. It's just not lashes. Like I teach people how to do lashes. I show them another way to make money. It's just a mentorship. It's a fellowship. It's a sisterhood. It's just not just about lashes.
Clarice, what made you follow your career path?
Honestly, what I do is actually kind of unconventional, especially culturally. I started off in corporate America for about 10 plus years. And at the same time, I was an entrepreneur as well. But I've always just liked to cook. I've always liked to cook, and it wasn't anything, I didn't go to culinary school, so it was God-given. And I just used that and I pursued it and I kept going. And then from there, it just kind of grew.
Nice. So real estate entrepreneur, lash entrepreneur. Do you believe that 9 to 5s are looked down upon?
I don't think 9 to 5s are looked down upon. I think it's more so what you want out of life. Like some people are okay with the security and some people don't mind risk. To be an entrepreneur, there's a certain level of risk you gotta have. You need to have a certain risk tolerance, and some people just don't have it. So I don't think it's something to look down upon. It's just about what you want for yourself.
I think if you're going to have a 9 to 5, I know everybody's circumstances are very different. I think if you're going to have a 9 to 5, just make sure you love it. Like you get one life and God gives you a chance to wake up every day. So I just always tell people, just do something that you love. I've had a 9 to 5. I had plenty of 9 to 5s. And I feel like I just was given a chance to take a risk on myself. And I feel like you can't never go wrong trying something on yourself. If it go wrong, go get a 9 to 5. Yeah. It's always going to be there.
Yeah. Nadim, what are your thoughts?
I think, to kind of echo what everybody says, it's all about your risk tolerance and your risk profile. To be honest, also, too, can I get a quick show of hands? Would anybody be comfortable working for like maybe 3 to 6 months and not getting a single dollar from your job? Anybody?
Come on.
So I think that's the answer right there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Also working 9 to 5, you're in entrepreneurship. What setbacks do you feel like you're facing working in 9 to 5 or also as an entrepreneur?
Setbacks working to a 9 to 5. I don't really feel like there's really any setbacks. This is my second 9 to 5 after graduating. So my first one, I felt like it was a setback because I'm like, I'm wasting my time doing this when I could be doing what I'm truly passionate about. But then going into the job that I currently have, it's like, okay, this is a means to an end. I'm using this to build. I'm using it to strategize to be able to provide for my family. And as I'm doing that, I can still build a business as well. So it also helps me be more focused because I can't have my time spread doing all these random different things. I had to be really focused and decisive about the journey that I'm taking.
Well, I mean, I had a conversation with my dad some years ago, and he said, son, you have to intentionally design the type of life you want to live, or someone else is going to design it for you to suit their needs, right? So that was kind of a light bulb moment for me. But to kind of echo your sentiment, I would encourage, people who do have a 9 to 5, work it as long as you can until the business forces you out of it. Now I'm not in a place to be able to, go to somebody's job for 9 to 5. But if you're not, then obviously do what you need to do because it gives you a certain level of security. And kind of to echo what Mike said, you have to be comfortable with a certain level of risk that we take every single day because the buck starts and it stops with us. So
Can I say one thing? I just want to say you can work a 9 to 5 until it pushes you out, but you also have to have a strategy. I see a lot of people every day wanting to be entrepreneurs and they don't know really, they have no strategy. If you don't come from a family that has had their own business or they know what they're doing, you'll be lost. So sometimes it's a lot harder than what people think it is. If you have no strategy, no game plan, no plan of execution, then maybe you should stay at your 9 to 5 until you figure out what really is your strategy. How can you do this? How can you elevate it? Because quitting your job is the easy part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree as well. For our women on the panel, can you date a man who works a 9 to 5?
My husband is not a 9 to 5. He's an entrepreneur. So, I mean, I will say this, whether he's 9 to 5 or not, he used to be years ago, but I feel as though it's not really more so, would I date a 9 to 5 over an entrepreneur? I think the point is that what I'm looking for is the support. Knowing that, our schedules are different. Sometimes there's going to be a schedule conflict. That's okay. But knowing that, I think what's more important to me is the support and knowing that in certain seasons, are we equally yoked? Especially when it comes to business. Because, I think the whole stigma of, I can only be with an entrepreneurial person if I'm an entrepreneur, I think that's a myth. Mm-hmm. I think it just truly depends on, what time. I think for me, I feel like you put more in the time in like your intimacy, not really more so the business. Because when you go home, it's all about you too. It's not about the business part of the 9 to 5 part.
Most definitely.
I think I could, even though I don't date a 9 to 5, or a person that has a 9 to 5. I think that it is kind of a balance, and sometimes it's really hard dating somebody who does have a 9 to 5 because they don't understand what you're sacrificing or what you're pouring into, or like the money aspect. Because when you do have a 9 to 5, you got a steady paycheck coming in. So when things get hard, they might try to force you to go get a job. So I think you could. I think it's all about just them understanding your vision and where you're trying to go and having somebody that genuinely believes in you. Honestly,
most definitely. For the men on our panel, would you prefer dating a woman who works a 9 to 5 or is an entrepreneur?
I know plenty of people that work 9 to 5s that make more than people who are full-time entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I think it's whatever works for, you and your situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a preference. I think it's more so like whatever works. But I do think entrepreneurship does, to become a successful entrepreneur, you need to develop yourself to a certain level. You know what I mean? And you got to become like a higher level. Not saying people 9 to 5 are not high level. I'm not saying that at all. But like when you are a true entrepreneur, like your personal development needs to be at a certain level. And I do respect that more.
Most definitely. Tony, what do you think is not mentioned enough about people who want to go into entrepreneurship?
What's not mentioned enough? I read something the other day. It takes 5 years for a business to fully become profitable. Yeah. Right? So, it's that consistency piece. I see a lot of times people will start a situation and then, right when they're really close to getting where they need to get to, they stop. So I think people don't talk enough about, there are going to be a lot of times where you're going to fall flat on your face, or you invest in an opportunity that doesn't work for you, Or you may have an idea that really doesn't, transpire in the way that you thought that it would, but you just have to kind of keep going. You have to believe in your vision. And, similar to what she said, you have to have a plan in place. And when you follow your plan to a T, eventually you're going to get there as long as you're putting those daily deposits.
Ivory, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think is not mentioned enough about people who are going into entrepreneurship or want to pursue entrepreneurship?
I think what's not mentioned, like I said earlier, is the plan. I think people see, because we're so consumer based now, and we see a lot of things on social media that we buy into, like a lie, a persona, what we want to show. So I think that people don't really understand what a plan looks like. Like, how do you follow that plan? What do you put in your plan? What does your plan entail? Do you have the budget for your plan? I don't think people really sit down and they don't mention how much of a strategy you need to have to be to be a successful entrepreneur.
Clarice, what do you think?
Can you repeat the question?
What do you think is not mentioned enough about going into entrepreneurship?
I think one of the main things that's not mentioned is that you need to get coached. You need to be led. You need to be mentored. You cannot walk into something like that and come with no plan, no type of strategy. One of the things that I've learned is being mentored was actually the core part of why I'm the entrepreneur that I am today. And so I think that, a lot of times we want to do things by ourselves. We want to be individuals. We want to show people, we love the titles as boss babe or boss. We love those titles. But a lot of times, why according to Tony, like some businesses get shut down at the time where they're really about to hit is because people are not mentored and people are not coached.
And I was just going to add also the self-development piece. I don't think it's talked about enough. And going to therapy. You are a reflection of your business. And so if you're messed up on the inside, it's going to reflect in your business. And so I think that that's something that's overlooked is the importance of self-development and therapy when starting your own business.
And also, not to cut you off.
Go ahead, yeah.
Reese is right. You definitely need a mentor, but I think that we live in a world where people have the brunches, the female empowerment. So it's almost like they're being misled because they don't know what to look for. They don't know what to ask for in finding a mentor or finding somebody you can talk to or a business bestie. I think that you definitely need somebody you can confide in and talk to who's going to help guide you and lead you. But I think that a lot of people don't think to get that is because who's really running a successful business that we know? People show you what they want to show you, but can they really show you their numbers? Can they really show you how they got there? How can they really show you their plan and strategy? I think that a lot of people don't want to get mentored because they feel like they're misled and robbed.
You said something with the brunches and things like that, and that's the problem with it now is that people are getting misled. People are, we love an image. Entrepreneurship has this image that is actually very frustrating because I think that people have so much to give. People are truly gifted and they don't know what their true purpose is. But because their desire is to be like that person that they're watching. So I think it's very, very important that you do your research. Please do your research. A lot of people don't really have your best interest. They are trying to get brunch tickets sold. So,
Can I add something to that as well? Like I always tell everybody, we're in 2024 right now, right? There's no special idea you're going to come up with that someone hasn't done already. Like whatever business idea you think is so good, I promise you someone's out there doing it and they're killing it. You just got to figure out what are they doing that's killing it. You know what I mean? Like what's making it work for them and somehow get that person to mentor you. And that's the best way to elevate.
How do you guys go about asking someone to mentor you?
So that part is a little bit tricky, right? I think it's more so like a lot of people that are really doing stuff, I think they're really approachable in a sense. Like most people I know that's successful at what they do, they're pretty approachable. And I think it's more so if that person truly believes that you want it. Because like me, just speaking for example, I get people calling me, asking me questions all the time. Like, Mike, how do you do this? How do you do that? And then when I tell them, they disappear. No, seriously. Like I would straight up tell somebody, you have to do this, and that. And I don't know if they look at it like, man, this is a lot of work. And they just disappear. So guess what? The next time he calls me, I'm not answering his phone because you're wasting my time now. So I think it's more so like if you find someone that's good at what you're doing, let them know that you're serious. Like you really, truly want to do this stuff. And they'll take you under their wing.
Tony, what are your thoughts?
I mean, twofold, right? I think there needs to be a certain level of humility that should come across whenever you're asking someone for help, but also, come prepared. right? You know, people will ask, what can I bring to your business? If you're asking me, what can you bring to my business? You're not prepared at all. You should already know the value that you're going to add to someone whenever you're coming to ask for something, right? So if you're looking for a mentor, you know, something, you know, along those lines, you know, kind of study that person, see what it is that you want to learn and get from that person. So then when you ask them, you're asking specific questions that they can answer and provide value.
And also, I wanted to piggyback on Michael's point. I think that when you do have a business, you definitely need friends that are almost like-minded. And this does not disregard your current friends, your day ones, but I think that you need to be around a group, a village where y'all can bounce ideas off of. And you have to look at it like this. If you wouldn't trade your life with them, why would you ask them for advice? I always think of it like that.
Clarice, I heard you saying, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, first of all, repeat the question again.
She mentioned community and like-minded people.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I heard you saying, very, very deep.
No, it's important to have the right community and the right team. I think one of the biggest things of why I even saw success in my career is the tribe that I had. Just the people that was behind me and that was backing me, especially in certain seasons that were either high or low. So I think that if you don't have the right community, it will say a lot about how you perform. You know, so it's important. I think it's very important. You know, you have your friends for this, you have your friends for that, but it's also okay to have a community that's here too. Because some of us in seasons, we need the encouragement. We need to be pushed. And if you need that, please be vocal about that. Please say, because no one can read your mind.
Thank you, Clarice. You did work corporate life before. So I do want to ask you, how did you balance your 9 to 5, your work life, your friends, your relationship, and entrepreneurship?
Honestly, that's a hard question. That's loaded because I just did it. It especially that when you everyone on this stage will tell you, sometimes you just do it. You're not even thinking about, if it needs to get done. You just know it needs to be done.
Yeah.
I remember working from getting up at 6 a.m, come back by I think 3:30, and I'm coming home, I'm making somebody's meal preps, and I'm driving straight to wherever they are. You know, you just honestly kind of make it work. On the weekends, I'm equally busy. Even before I was married, you know, you're making time for your partner, you're making time for family. You just truly just do it. There's no set schedule. There's no project management behind it. You just do it.
Yeah, I already know. Coming my way. For me, I think it's also about the business model that you have too. Yeah. So for me, and I was telling them back behind the stage, I do virtual cooking demonstrations for corporate clients, right? So it's a high premium, and sometimes a lot of people aren't going to be willing to pay that premium. So that frees up your time for other things as well. And the same thing with the speaking engagements that I do. It's a high premium. Not everybody's going to want to pay that premium, so I'm not booked and busy all the time doing all these little things trying to get extra money. So for me, that kind of helps me balance it because I'm only taking the opportunities that make the most sense for me.
Makes sense. Ivory, Mike, I've been in entrepreneurship before. How do you guys balance? I mean, you're not just working 9 to 5. You're working 12 to 12, maybe 24 hours. So how did you guys balance with full-time entrepreneurship?
So for me, that's something that I'm learning. I have literally, I used to feel bad for taking time off, for taking a day off, or taking a minute. I had no routine. I wasn't working out. I was getting my hair done whenever I could squeeze it in. And the one thing that I told myself in 2024 is time waits for nobody. And I missed out on so much. And I feel like creating that balance is so important. So I'm still trying to figure out how to create the balance. So I just feel like you just gotta know, don't feel bad. Don't feel selfish for being selfish to yourself.
With me, like I said, I've been entrepreneur a long time, so I've kind of just developed. I have phases in my life now. You know, I'll ghost everyone for a little bit, months, and then I'll just appear back. You know, everything is, and I just have a cycle. Literally, my friends that are close to me, they can tell now. Oh, Mike's locked in. You know, over the years, they kind of just know when I disappear, I'm just in that mode, and I just have my seasons. That's just how I balance it. I still struggle balancing it because when I'm locked in and somebody's wedding is coming up, somebody's birthday is coming up, I gotta miss it. You know, and sometimes some people can understand it, some people don't. But with me, hey, it's just my lifestyle.
How do you communicate that?
A long text message, a long text or a phone call like, hey man, I'm in that mode right now. It is what it is. There's gonna be more birthdays. There's gonna be more times that we could celebrate. But when I'm locked in, I'm locked in.
So you don't just post something on Instagram and be like, hibernation season, you let the people know. You communicate.
I mean, if you don't see me posting for a while, you should know. And then if you see me giving it, like posting every day for like a week, I'm back, so it's just seasonal for me. I enjoy working that way. That's just how I found to balance over time.
I think what Mike said, I like that he said that he's locked in, because literally last year I took an 11-month hiatus. And it was very intentional. And I know that it made not only me uncomfortable, but it also made people that love me uncomfortable. And it was just a decision that I had to make to be able to see, okay, am I able to combat being an entrepreneur, also being a 9-to-5er, or, I was just trying to honestly put words to what I was feeling as an entrepreneur and so much more. And I feel like until you are able to sit down and be still, then that's when you'll truly see the fruit behind, what your platform is, and be unapologetic about it. Because sometimes you can't explain to people why you have to take a step back.
Yeah.
So Mike was nice. I didn't send no text message.
Wow.
I didn't send a text. I didn't answer my phone. I didn't even respond, because honestly, sometimes I just really needed to just like turn off all the noise. I need to cut all the noise, because I really, really believe in what I'm doing. And it wasn't and it's not personal. It's not personal. And people that love you, like Mike said, they would understand.
And even if they don't understand, it's just falls on them, because I feel like people really can't, they will though, but you can't really be too mad when somebody want to follow their dreams. It's just different levels of priorities. And I feel like I go through this with my friends. Like they always say, yeah, all you do is work, but I'm working on me. That's the difference. It's not like I'm working for Sam's Club or wherever. Like I'm working on me. I'm working on something that funnels me, something that pays my bills, something that I enjoy. I'm trying to build something. And I think when people will never truly understand until they're trying to build their own thing, whatever that is. Whether you go back to school as an adult, whether you are getting married, trying to have your family, people don't understand until it falls on them. So I feel like it's okay to be selfish.
Most definitely. Got to fill up your cup to fill up others. Alrighty, that was good. I love this so far. So let us have a little fun with it. I'm going to ask all of you questions, and you guys will answer them on these dry erase boards. I will give you guys about 10 seconds to answer. On the count of 3, everyone will reveal their answer. So we're going to wait till everyone gets their boards. You guys got it? Yep. On the count of 3, everyone will reveal your answer. So you got to hold up your boards also. You can't see each other's answers. All right, let's get into it. Alrighty. What percentage of Americans work 9 to 5 or more?
In today's time?
Can I put a range?
Alrighty, so I'm gonna count to 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. Ooh,
Okay.
the answer is 71%.
Oh,
Look at you! Yeah, you were the closest, Ivory. Look at you, girl. Is everyone meant to be an entrepreneur? All right, 1, 2, 3.
I was going to say the same thing.
Clarice, why did you say absolutely not?
Absolutely not. Say the same thing. That's so
Because honestly speaking, like to be an entrepreneur, it takes servant leadership. A lot of people are not servant leaders, and people like there are people that just have wrong reasons of why they want to be an entrepreneur, and it just takes somebody that knows about entrepreneurship knows that it takes literally less of you. You have to serve. You have to serve in order to gain that support. So I don't know. I just feel like everybody's not made for it, and that's okay too. That is truly okay. If you're made for 9 to 5, please stay in your job.
I mean, even outside of that, we all have businesses. We still need employees, right? So, in order for a business to function, you have to have a team to be able to support you. So, I mean, that in itself kind of lets you know that not everybody is going to be set up to be the entrepreneur. It's kind of like in football, they say, too many Chiefs, not enough Indians, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to kind of play their role in order for the train to move in the right direction.
Yeah.
I just want to say entrepreneurship is painful. Like, it's like you get kicked down every day. Like, even when you are a millionaire, like, you still get kicked down, and like, people just don't understand. The pain doesn't stop. Like, don't think just because you start making money, the pain stops. Nah, it keeps going. It's just the more money you make, the more better you are at dealing with it, right? So the pain could still be there, but now you have someone else. You might have hired somebody to deal with that pain, right? But guess what? There's a whole bunch of other stuff that you have to deal with now. So it's very painful, and I just don't think everybody has that.
I just think that a lot of people are not just built for a period. Like, I think we live in a world, like, again, because we're consumer based, everybody's just looking at the glitz and the glam and the persona and how you dress and how you come in. I just think that a lot of people lack customer service. They lack the understanding what it takes to be one. They just lack a lot of things the way it takes to be an entrepreneur and be a successful one at that. And I just feel like it's okay to not be an entrepreneur. It's okay. I know a lot of people who make a lot of money, more than me, and I just be like, that's lit. They love what they do. You do not have to be an entrepreneur. It's okay to not be one.
Nadim, I guess you didn't read Rich Dad Poor Dad. There's 4 quadrants.
I did read.
Everybody can be an entrepreneur.
And I kind of have a different twist to it. I definitely agree with what everybody said up here so far. But I truly also believe that you as an individual are a business, whether you're in entrepreneurship or not. And if you have a God-given gift that doesn't fit within what you do for your 9 to 5, then you need to be putting that into the world. You don't want to let that go to waste, no matter how difficult it may be. And I believe, raise your hand if you don't have a talent. Right.
But what if somebody's trying to find their talent or their purpose? Would they still be considered to be an entrepreneur if they feel like they don't have no purpose or no talent? Something that they can monetize on.
That's a good question. So when you're on the journey, you're trying to find what that purpose is. Again, like, I still believe that even if you work a 9 to 5, you are in business. And so if you truly believe that, I think we all know that there's something that's missing inside of us when we are doing something that's not aligned with our purpose. And so if you're going through trying to figure it out, yeah, you're working your 9 to 5, but you're trying to figure out what your purpose is in this world if you don't feel like your 9 to 5 is that.
So
You can
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know physicians who that's their purpose is to, save lives, to bring, babies into this world, things of that nature. So, that's just kind of my 2 cents in it. You can find your purpose outside of just, being an entrepreneur. You can have, really love what you do, be passionate about your 9 to 5, and then, kind of let that be your guiding light. There's nothing wrong with that.
The way I look at it is like this, right? Let's say I worked at a company 9 to 5, and there was 100 people in that company. And then for whatever reason, the head of the company just went shut. He just disappeared. And running that company was based on the 100 people that worked there. Do you guys think that company will survive? Probably not. Company will probably die. So when I say I don't think everybody's built for entrepreneurship, it's because I don't think out of everybody that's worked at that company, they've been there. Some of those people probably worked there for years. But when it comes to take that head role, everybody's not built for that. So that's why I say I don't think everybody could be an entrepreneur.
I think also, like, because to your point, having those talents and those purposes, those gifts, everybody needs to understand you don't have to steward it into entrepreneurship. Right. You can steward it elsewhere. Sometimes, I don't think that, like I was saying it back there, like, entrepreneurship is a ministry. Like, you have to seriously understand it's a ministry. It's not a hobby. It's not a hobby. And if you see it as a hobby, entrepreneurship is not for you. Because the way that you have to have thick skin in the game, like Mike said, it's very painful sometimes. It can be it's beautiful. It's a beautiful blessing to know that what started off as an idea on paper can actually be implemented and you can actually see the fruit of it. But know that because you have talents and gifts and much more, you can steward it outside of entrepreneurship. Everyone's not called to it.
We're going to keep going on questions on the whiteboard. So do you guys have friends that support your businesses? Like, they share, repost, show up, maybe donate, help you serve? I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. Clarice said she got a whole game. How many? Let us know.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
That's it, though. I tell people this all the time. Just because your friends and your family support you, that's not you being an entrepreneur. Can you go past your family and friends can you look past them supporting you? To me, that's what qualifies you to have a business that's successfully running. When you're family and friends, you're not trying to profit from the people your circle, your village.
Can you repeat that one more time?
What I just said. Okay, so I think I think that it's cool. Trust me, it's a blessing to have your family and friends to support you. But I think that does not mean that you are an entrepreneur. I think to go past beyond your family and friends supporting you, that's when you know you have something good going. Like when you can roll with that. I think a lot of people, all of our friends and family, I'm sure, support us in a sense. But I think, can you go past that? Can you sell a product past your friend?
Clarice, did you want to add something to
So what Ivory said, everybody is not your client, family and friends, no matter if they support you, because sometimes, and I tell this to friends all the time, like, don't take it personal. Maybe what you have, your product, is not relevant to them. It doesn't mean that they don't support you. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they don't want to show up for you. It's just that maybe that product is not relevant to them. And I think that we need to stop, because when you're focused on your family and friends being your client, you're focused on the wrong thing. Yeah. You could be scaling that into something else, And I think that we need to understand that you will have those friends that are just going to repost and share. And then you're going to have those friends that will probably buy, or you're going to have those friends that you're going to catch them around maybe the sale season, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes your business may not even be social media relevant, right? If you have a consulting company, there's not really much that your friends can do in that regard, right? So, kind of like what you all are saying, it's about trying to find a niche or a business that, not necessarily is a product based, but, kind of goes that way.
Great.
I wanted to also say with friends and family, like, everyone should be very gracious and merciful, because life is happening to people. And so a lot of people cannot show up the way you want them to show up.
And even outside of that, so if you have a product-based business, right, you really shouldn't be focused on your friends and family. I mean, there's the internet. There's, at this given second, probably 1 million or 1 billion people that probably want to buy what it is that you're selling. So you should be focused on, how do I get my product to the kid in, Nigeria or, India or whatever the case may be. That should be, your goal, so to speak. Not necessarily your, how do I get my friends to buy into the business that I'm selling. That's not.
But I think a lot of people don't look at it like, I think everybody is looking at it like, I want to sell to Nigeria or I want to sell to this. But I think a lot of people, when they first start their business, from what I see, a lot of them always saying, but my friends and family don't support me. That's always a given. People always start there before they look beyond. Yes. So I just think when I feel like people have to get it in their minds, it's okay if they don't support you, It's okay if they don't vocalize it. It's okay if they don't show up. You still have to show up every day. So can you go beyond them is the point,
Who did show up? Should you keep what you're doing in your business private until it is completely finished? Alrighty, 1, 2, 3. Slightly.
I couldn't write that on time.
Yeah, why do you believe that you should slightly dibble out?
So, when you're starting a new business, I don't know, everyone has their own take on this, but I'm just giving my take. When I'm starting a new business, it's risky. You know what I mean? And like, when I'm starting a new business, you might not know where it's gonna go. I don't really want to just start blasting it all over if I don't know where it's gonna go yet. You know what I mean? What if I start this new business and I don't like it?
Guilty.
And then I've already posted it, everyone has supported me, and now I'm deleting all the posts off my page. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like that. So before I post something, it's solid. It's running. The machine is going. That's just how I take it.
Clarice?
So I'm iffy, but I'm more leaning towards no, because in my opinion, you're never complete with your business. It's ever changing. There's always something happening. There's always a new thing that you can create. what I typically tell my clients is that you should never be married to moments, because I mean, one season you'll be like, oh, okay, you know, I think I've reached my peak, I've reached my sales goal, whatever it is, but there's always something to be done. And I feel like, you know, you shouldn't have that in private. You know, I think that, like, I always talk about over communicating, you know, but to Mike's point, when it's at seed level, it's important that you stay locked in and make sure this is actually what you want to do before you actually reveal it to the world. But I think post that, you shouldn't, why keep your business private? So how are you going to make money?
Makes sense. Has social media ever influenced you or in your 9 to 5 to make you feel like you were not doing enough? And you guys can write that on your whiteboard.
So the question is, do you follow social media?
Has social media ever influenced you to make you feel like you're not doing enough? Whether you're an entrepreneur or you work 9 to 5. Alrighty, 1, 2, 3. Oh, no directions. Ivory, why'd you say yes?
I think anybody will be lying if you don't look on social media and be like, dang, how she get that? Dang, how they doing that? That's lit. Like, I want to do that. I think that social media definitely does what it's supposed to do, influence. So I definitely think whether I buy into it, it's all a mental. So sometimes it does get the best of me sometimes when I see it and you feel like you pouring into this and you don't see it. You know, you don't see the fruits of your labor fast enough. So I think anybody would be lying if they say no. I think somehow, some way, some of us have been. No offense. But I definitely think someone would be lying.
You go ahead. So with me, I just don't take social media that serious. You know what I mean? There's certain things I look at on social media that I take in, and there's some that I don't take in. You know, I might look at somebody that has like a Lambo, a $20 million house. I look at that as motivation. I don't really look at it like, oh man, I need to go harder or anything like that. I look at it like, man, one day I'll get there too type of deal. You know, I don't look at it like I'm not doing enough.
But isn't it motivation? Isn't it still influencing you? It's still even though it's motivational, that's still a sense of influence.
Could you repeat the question again? Let me make sure I understood the question. Do you mind just saying the question one more time?
Isn't it still motivational to you in some capacity?
No, what was the question?
What was the question, Joe? I don't remember that being the
You
question.
said that social media influence.
Has social media ever influenced you or in your 9 to 5 entrepreneurship like you were not doing enough?
Exactly, not doing enough, right? It can motivate me to where I'm going, but it doesn't make me feel like I'm not doing enough because the people on social media, a lot of them are capped.
There you go.
A lot of them, you know what I mean? So it would never make me feel like, yo, I'm not doing enough. But it can make me be like, okay, when I get to that level, this is what I'm gonna do too, you know?
So 3 things, right? Number 1, you got to run your race, right? And you need to be, you know, personally, you need to be so locked in and so, you know, bought into what it is that you're selling or that you're doing that you're not really worried about what other people are doing, right? And then the other thing is, I know people in real life that are doing really, really positive things. So I don't really pay too much attention to the stuff that's going on the internet because some of it, like Mike said, is just not true. You know, so yeah, I feel like sometimes social media, it's like an escape. It's like a fairy tale land. Like people are gonna paint whatever picture they want to paint, and they're gonna show you what they want you to see. But that may not necessarily be the truth of what they're doing. So you have to be locked in and just kind of stay course to what you're doing.
On social media, everybody is winning. Do you ever see anyone losing publicly on social media? You never see that. And I know in entrepreneurship, you lose every day.
Yeah.
You know, so something is not adding up. You only see people winning on social media. So that's why I just don't let it, I don't let it mess with me.
But I think also don't look at it like, I feel like you're almost taking her question as a negative thing. I feel like just because you look at somebody and say, dang, I need to go harder, that's not a bad thing. That's literally, that could be the fire that you need. Like, to me, when I look at it, I'd be like, dang, people that I personally know post, like their weddings, of course, but I'd be like, dang, if she could do it, I could do it. I don't think it's not in a negative. Like, I look at it like, yeah, I need to step my game up. Because a lot of times, in all honesty, a lot of us play it safe, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. Though you're taking a risk, yes, you are the risk, but we still play it safe sometimes.
But that's why sometimes, it's so important to write your goals down, right? So when you have what it is you're hoping to accomplish, if you're still moving in that direction, it really doesn't matter what this person's doing because I've hit the milestones that I need to hit. So, congratulations. That's great for you. I know that we're doing what we need to do. So we're right where we need to be. And at the end of the year, we're going to be right exactly where we need to be. So
That's facts. And just to piggyback on that, if I have told myself I want to make X amount by the end of February, and I work backwards, and I know every day I need to do this, that, to meet my goal. And I'm doing that. Week 1 goes by. I've done everything I need to do. Week 2 goes by. If I get on Instagram, I see somebody just bought a Ferrari. Does that affect my game plan? No. I'm still doing my game plan.
But what if you go on Instagram and you see that somebody obtained a real estate government contract? That doesn't influence you to
who is it?
Do more. Anybody. That doesn't influence you to want to do more or figure out how to obtain that government contract?
I'm not going to say it influences me to want to obtain the government contract because that's their lane. Mm-hmm. It's not my lane. Okay. Now, if it's somebody in my field and they was like, oh, we just did XYZ, a milestone that I'm trying to get to, maybe it might be a little bit different there, But like I said, social media, I'm detached to it in a sense,
So, okay, social media does play an influence, I think, on any entrepreneur, in my opinion. But, like Ivory said, it's not necessarily a negative question, I think that, if you're in my industry and, if there's a goal that I already have written down and I see, somebody obtained it, because, like they said, social media, people lie. I mean, you can post anything. No one's going to tell you what they're doing, behind closed doors. But, I mean, when I see something, at least especially when I was earlier in business, and I would say I was a little bit more premature in business. I didn't really know. But, when I see something that I like, I'm like, man, dang, I probably need to get back in the lab again. Yeah. But not necessarily downing myself that I can't do it because I don't want to do exactly what that person is doing. But it does motivate me to say, you know what, get back in the lab, And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's the push that you need. Yeah. Sometimes it is. It doesn't mean that you're trying to be exactly like that person. I don't even think that's possible for you to do the same thing with someone else.
All right, back to the whiteboards, guys. All right, which state has the most female entrepreneurs, in your opinion?
Which state?
Which state? All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
California.
Yeah.
I don't think LA is
California.
Okay. Alrighty. Why do you believe Georgia?
Man, the entrepreneurs in, let me say Atlanta, they're getting to it.
Facts.
I actually know a lot, and I
that you personally know.
Yeah.
Okay, but the
and I respect
correct answer is California.
Okay.
Really?
What's number 2?
Wow.
What's number 2?
There's no number 2.
Oh. Well, yeah, I don't, just from what I've seen, I think Georgia for sure.
Okay.
But
Can I say
Kelly
something?
could definitely have
I think people look at Atlanta because it's black excellence. A lot of black people have their own business in Atlanta, so maybe that's why some people would say Atlanta because we black, so probably a lot of our friends are black, so and they do their own thing.
All right, true or false question. A lot of people gatekeep when it comes to running their own businesses. Do you believe that is true or false? That a lot of people gatekeep when it comes to running their own business. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yes and no, Clarice?
So I, first of all, I can't stand that word, gatekeep. Because, no, it's not your fault. People do gatekeep and I get why. But there's a lot of people too that do not gatekeep. They really do want, because that's a form of, I would say, bringing in an audience. It's a form of marketing. But for the people that do gatekeep, I don't think that's wrong either. And I know that's an unpopular opinion because you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay for that wisdom. There's no way that you think you can just call up somebody and be like, can I pick your brain? Because for whatever reason is that when you call that person back to pick their brain, they become brainless. Now, all of a sudden, they don't know what you're talking about. And I just feel as though you need to capitalize on that. You want this information, you're going to pay for that. That's just how I don't think there's nothing wrong with gatekeeping.
I see it differently. So I'm never going to charge for information. That's just my personal thing, right?
You're
And
blessed.
I just look at it from a spiritual standpoint. You know, like what's meant for you is meant for you. I'll give you
100%.
all the game in the world. The thing that people can't replicate, they can't replicate your mind, and they can't replicate your effort. You know, so I'll tell you exactly what you need to do X, Y, Z. Now you got to go execute. That's on you. So that's just
Even if they call you every day.
Only 10% of people
I was getting ready to say that. I think it's more so of a time aspect because if people can pick your brain all day long and do absolutely nothing with it, and time is one thing we cannot get back. So to waste my time, it's a price.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a calendar for that. If there's a spot, we'll talk.
I got free
If there isn't a spot, then we won't talk.
So I don't know. With my experience, like people will call. Because the first day it was like, it's great to like give advice. Like I love helping people, trust me, but it becomes like very taxing to keep answering questions and repeating yourself. And it's like, okay, what did you do with the first set of questions that I gave you? Like, I don't know. I just don't have that type of time.
That's right.
And yeah, like I said this earlier, right? People will call you all day, ask you a bunch of questions. You can give them the game, and they're not going to do it. Like I don't think I would never see myself as a gatekeeper because I truly believe even if I tell you how to do everything, you're not going to do it how I do it. That's just how I believe. So I could literally give you the whole book. You're not going to do it how I do it, But I hate time wasters. I really do. Like I really hate that. If you want to go to somebody and ask them how to do what they're doing, that they are passionate about, they wake up every day and get to it, don't waste their time. If they sit down, even if they spend 10 minutes to give you some info, take that info and do something with it. Don't just waste their time.
I think also you got to meet people where they are when it comes to like people saying gatekeeping per se. Like you can't give the full playbook for somebody that's starting out at step one because then they are going to waste your time if you're giving out the whole playbook and they still getting started. So I think that there is a level, if you give somebody the right information too soon, it's actually detrimental than it is beneficial for them. So I think that there has to be some type of level of gatekeeping, not just for, I'm trying to withhold this information, but this is where you at in your journey right now. So this is the information I'm going to give you now. And if you've completed that stuff and you come back for the next level, then all right, we have another conversation.
And I also feel like there's nothing wrong with gatekeeping, period. Like, people always want to do what somebody else is doing. No, this is for me. And that's okay for it to be just for me. Like, you don't have to do it too. Like, I hate people like that. Like, they want to get on because you want. I don't have to do that. You're not entitled to tell somebody how to do it. The same way I figured it out, you can go figure it out too. And that might sound mean, but I mean, it is what it is.
I agree. No, I agree. Because when I was suffering, no one was there. You weren't there when your boy was going through the stuff. You just see the shine and you just want to come fast forward. But I still wouldn't I would encourage them, give them all the advice I can, steer them the right way. If you have questions, hey, I'm open book. But don't waste time.
I also believe in planting seeds. And I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority in this, but
You're not.
Yeah, no.
I don't think
No. You're talking about gatekeeping, right? So I look, your success is my success. I want you to do well. So, if it's within my power to give you the game for you to get to the next level, by all means, go ahead. There's enough money for everybody to cook. It's almost like Tommy Hilfiger and Ralph Lauren, right? If Tommy Hilfiger saw what Ralph Lauren was doing and said, I don't, these guys make clothes, how do I? No, do what you need to do. You're going to do it differently, kind of like what Mike said. So, everybody has their own lane. And, I can give you exactly what you need to do to start this business, but your business may just be a little different. And you may just not have the same drive or the same push that I do to get it to where it needs to get to. So.
No, I mean, I think everybody on this stage wants to plant a seed. Yeah. I think for me is that if you are trying to go gain information from other people, come with some actual
substance.
Come with some substance. Come with like a plan or a strategy. Like, hey, I did this. It didn't work out. Do you have any advice for this? Because people that just look for information to look for information and just to kind of store it in their archive, I don't understand it. I mean, then again, it's also I'm not responsible for your response and how you take the information and go. But I mean, I feel like, come with something that I can work with. Help me to help you. If that makes sense.
I archived one of your cooking videos. My bad. I gotta learn one day. 2 more questions. So, do you need an education to be successful? Beyonce has no degree. Ooh. That one hit the soul. Alrighty, and last question, and the final grand question. Did entrepreneurship kill 9 to 5? Alrighty, 1, 2, 3. Why do you believe? Yes.
I think that entrepreneurship has killed the 9 to 5. You don't hear about people wanting to go to school to be doctors. You don't hear about people wanting to go to school to be dentists. You don't hear about people wanting to be police officers. You don't hear about people being the things that we need. We need people to work at Walmart. We need people to work at Sam's Club. We need people to work in the dental office. You don't hear anybody wanting to be there. If you ever look on social media or talk to children, everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to be something that has nothing to do with a 9 to 5. People are not even talking about going to college. They're going to college for the experience, not really to go to college to be something. So I think that we glorify what entrepreneurship from social media, and because we are consumer based, I do think that people do not want to have a job. They think having a job is a joke.
You look at, can I? So I don't think entrepreneurship will ever kill 9 to 5. Personally, I just don't see it. Like, people could say they want to be an entrepreneur all day. They could see things, they could do it. They get in there, they try it, they're gonna quit. And that's always gonna happen. And when they quit, they still have to pay bills. You know, they still have to pay bills, and they just gotta get back to it. Like I'm telling you, I think it's really a mindset thing. And I just I don't ever think the whole world will get to a point, even the whole country will get to a point where everyone's on that mindset.
I mean, you mentioned Walmart. Walmart is still the single largest employer of people in the United States.
But nobody wants to go work at Walmart. I used to work at Walmart, and nobody wants to work at Walmart.
That's fair. But, kind of to Mike's point, I think, you're always going to have people that, will have an idea and it may not work out. And then you still have, bills to pay. You still have, mouths to feed. But even outside of that, I would encourage everyone to have an entrepreneurial spirit in whatever it is that you do. Right?
100%.
So if you're working, at Walmart, you should try to find in your day-to-day, work journey, a process that could be simplified or something that could be done a little differently. And then maybe you bring it up to your employer, or you pocket it yourself, and then you start to invest after your 9 to 5. So,
I don't think that the entrepreneurship has killed 9 to 5 at all, because if that was the truth, then why do some of us have one leg in and one leg out? Some of us are doing both. And, it's not saying that that's a bad thing, because I did that for years. I think it's amazing to have both. If you are blessed with that flexibility, please do it. But if we're going to say that entrepreneurship has killed the 9 to 5, then, we wouldn't be doing two at one time, and in the case that now I do think that entrepreneurship, there's certain components of the 9 to 5 that it has killed, for instance, flexibility. I do think as an entrepreneur, you do have more flexibility. It depends on and you get to kind of, I would say, control your time. But then you have to ask yourself, though, as an entrepreneur, would I rather be compensated by flexibility over money, or money over flexibility? So if your choice is money, you need to stay in your job, because that seed time, that first 5 years, you're not going to get the profit that you think that you're going to get. And so I'm never the person that's going to say that, corporate America just killed. Entrepreneurship killed the corporate America. I can't truly say that, because I have been in times where I'm like, okay, I like this entrepreneurial life, but I need to go apply for a job. So I have seen both sides. But like I said, until entrepreneurship can bring benefits, until it can bring that security and that income, that salary, then I would say that's it. My answer would change, but yeah, that's the only thing I think it killed.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say that it severed it. Like you said, it's made the 9 to 5 change. I mean, we've seen a lot of people during the pandemic leave their jobs and try to start their own businesses. But then, last year hit, and I know they're not going to admit it on the news, but we're in a recession. Then, you see people going back to their jobs. Right. And so, but it is a new approach going into it. We need the flexibility, need the adaptability in our positions that we have in our 9 to 5s.
So, you guys did really good with all the questions. Give yourself a round of applause. So, at this time, we want to open the floor to the audience to let them ask any questions that they would like to ask. All right, so we're back with Break the Code, and now we'll be ready for the panelists. So I'm going to start here in the front row. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, we'll start here. Hold it up.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there you go.
You think 9 to 5 is a great foundation for entrepreneurship. And the reason why I say that is I work a 9 to 5 right now, and I think that in the business and the field that I work in, I learned so much that, I mean, my dream and my goal is to become an entrepreneur, and I learned so much that I can take into whatever dreams and entrepreneurship things that I want to do. So my question to you are, do you think 9 to 5 is a great foundation for entrepreneurship?
100%. I definitely think it's a good foundation. I don't recommend anyone to just blindly go into entrepreneurship. You know, to go into entrepreneurship, you need to have that nest. You need to have that bag, you know? And definitely as you work the 9 to 5, just have your plan, have your exit strategy. You know, you're not making money and blowing it on things you don't need, you know? You know that you want to start a business. For you to start that business, you need 50K. Save that money up. And then go into entrepreneurship. And then all the skills you acquire, right? Because as an entrepreneur, you're really paid for the skills that you have. So if you're already in a business where you're acquiring skills, keep acquiring your skills, keep getting your money. And then when you feel comfortable enough, start the business.
I also add, you can really, thank you. I'll also add like the network too that you can get from your 9 to 5. Like a lot of your coworkers can be your first clients. You know what I mean? So really focus when you on your 9 to 5 on your job. Really make the connections with people because you never know who will be a client for you one day.
I'm gonna add to that. So I think that I'm Team Corporate America as well because to be honest with you, nothing is wasted even when you get into entrepreneurship. There's fundamentals in a working space that you need in order to run your business. So for instance, the project management side, like all the logistics of putting it together, learning documentation, and much more. Like even sometimes legal side, you just really just don't know. But there's so many skills from corporate America that you can transfer into your current business. So I definitely think so.
And be an overachiever at work. Like work really, really hard at whatever it is you do because those skills translate into being an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? And then, you know, to kind of piggyback off of his point, if you're, you know, that stellar employee, you know, whenever it is you let's say you go into the entrepreneur world and you starting to look at your potential first clients, if they know that this person has been a hard worker their entire life, they'll be more than likely to trust you, whether it be with their money or their time.
I think even the people skills too, not even just like the working skills. The working skills will always be there, but just even just your character as well, because I think that you need good character as well to be an entrepreneur. So.
Anybody else on the first row have any questions?
Hello, everyone. My name is Femo. Just had a quick question on scalability. So, wanted to understand what challenges have you guys encountered when it came to scaling your business, and how did you guys overcome those challenges? Because I'm a 9 to 5er and an entrepreneur, and so I know when it comes to entrepreneurship, when you're trying to take your business to that next level, you encounter challenges. So just wanted to get some insight from you guys how you were able to overcome those challenges when it came to scaling your business.
One problem that I say that I ran into, and this is just me being honest, taking a lot of things personal. I tried to scale my business. I have a salon, and I tried to hire people underneath me so that I can keep funneling business without me having to come to work. And the one thing that I realized is nobody works as hard as you, especially when there's your name on it. So I feel like I let my personal carry along for a long time, and it hindered my business. So then I started taking a financial hit because I was in my head, my ego, and I just took a lot of things personal. So I think the first thing is to not take things personal. Is business. Business come first.
So growth versus scale, right? Big difference, right? You talk about growth, that's really equivalent to the amount of time that you're putting in. And when you talk about scale, now time remains constant, but you're still elevating. As far as challenges, I would say honestly, whatever it is you're doing, do it really, really well. Because don't try to scale something if you still have areas of opportunity. And because when you start talking about dealing with money on an exponential level, now you're talking about problems also on an exponential level. So whatever it is you're doing, do it really, really well on ground level. Get your product, get your, your process right. And then when you start thinking about, okay, how do I get this thing going to the next level, then you've already had the groundwork ready.
I think when it comes to scaling, it's also about delegation. All right. It's mostly about delegation because, when it comes to business, you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Literally. If you really sit down and think of any business, you're doing the same thing over and over again. And obviously, the more you do it, the better you get at it, right? If the business was walking from this side to that wall, as we keep walking, we're going to get better at it every time, right? And as you get better at it, you start delegating it, right? So now walking from here to here, you're not doing that no more. You hire somebody to do that. But because you've done it over and over so many times, you're so good at it, right? So now you could teach somebody how to do this part. And that person's now doing that part. Then you go and teach somebody else how to do it up to here. And now you're handling the rest of it, but now you got people doing this. And then you just keep adding more and more people. Eventually, you have somebody doing this part, that part, that part. Now you're the CEO, and you're just managing them. Y'all get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now you're just managing them doing each of those parts. Now, instead of just having one person doing each part, now you got 2 people doing each part, then 3 and 4, and that's how you just continue to scale up.
I think I had 2 challenges in the beginning, just starting about 10 years ago. One challenge was thinking that social media is the only gateway, only avenue for me to even make profit. When it's not, there's so many different ways to actually get someone's coin. A second challenge was also boundaries. I think as entrepreneurs, we want to make money so quickly that we start to let someone tell us what we're supposed to do in our own business when they didn't create it. So definitely, I would say boundaries for sure.
Righty.
So mine is more of a comment and a question that follows. So going back to the gatekeeping conversation, I heard some people saying like basically we want to gatekeep because other people should struggle in order to bring their businesses up, like kind of in a way. And I get struggle definitely breeds better businesses and better people in general. But to a point, like, I feel like a lot of times as Black people, we get so attached to the struggle. Mm-hmm. So I don't this is my mom. We have always been people who, no matter what, we're going to help you. Now, obviously, within boundaries, I'm not about to let you call me 10 times and you're not getting anything from it. But at the same time, God will produce for me whatever is for me. And God will produce for you whatever is for you. And at the end of the day, if your blessing is supposed to come from me, who am I to tell you no? So I guess my question is, do y'all see a route out for us as Black people from getting from, like, I believe that you should struggle too in order to come up?
I don't believe you should struggle too. I don't believe that at all. I just think it's more so, how bad do you want it? Like, if you really want it, I will assist you all the way. I will. Like, if you call me, you ask me questions, and your questions are tangible questions. You're not just asking me generic stuff about the business. Like, I can tell you're going through the business and you've hit a roadblock and you need someone to help you overcome that roadblock. Call me. I'll give you the answers. I'll give you the answers to go through that roadblock. That's kind of my take on it.
I agree with that. Like, I feel like it's not that we want anybody to struggle. I think it's all about, do you really want it? Like, people will call you and ask you questions or slide in your DM all day, every day, and not make no moves on it. I feel like you could tell when somebody really want it. Like, for example, me and Michael had a conversation, and he was breaking down things that I should have been doing. I got defensive. I'm struggling. I got defensive. But guess what? I came back the next day with everything he said I should have. And I feel like when you see people like that, it changed. You be like, okay, let me help them. I don't think it's about us wanting us to struggle. I think it's just, don't waste nobody's time.
And I think also, like, even with what she said, like, sometimes you need that constructive, like, criticism or, that advice. And it's not to harm you. And, and just what she said, it's not personal. You know, some people truly want to see you win and truly see you grow. I think with Black people, we need to get out of our heads, you know, and we need to stop. We think that there's an accolade that comes with struggling. There's no accolade that comes with that. No one cares that you got it out of the mud. So I think it's very, very important. I think it's really important that if we're going to help someone or whether we're getting help from somebody else, we always have boundaries, you know.
And also, like what you said also earlier, I feel like to be a true leader, you got to see other people win. Because if you're the only one winning at the table, how fun is that?
All right, next question.
I feel like not everyone is that qualified to, like, you know, do without education in this world. Like, education is something that's very needed, whether formal or informal education. So I want to say, why did you say education is not needed to be successful in this world, in this day and age?
I think the question was posed around like a formal education, right? I'm a firm believer that, you know, if it's not coming in the form of a formal education, life experience will teach you everything you need to know. You know, whether it be, you know, you fail, you get up, or you succeed, right? So, you know, some of the, you know, people that I know in entrepreneurship, they just learn just by doing it. You know, you just got to get out sometimes and just try something. And if it works, you keep going. If it doesn't, you know what, let me kind of pivot back and figure something out. Now, to your point, yes, you know, there are certain skills that you need, you know, like if you're in a business that requires a lot of technology, you need somebody to be able to code, right? Or you need to be able to read the code, right? So that in that aspect, you probably do need to learn something. But even then, right, as entrepreneurs, we pay people to know certain things and to do certain things better than us. So, you know, when you get to that point, you know, hey, that's my form of a shortcut, right? So I may not know how to code, but I'm going to pay somebody to be able to, you know, do X, Y, Z for me, you know, kind of figure it out that way. But yeah, you know, I think, yes, you know, formal education is important, but do you need it? I don't think so.
And also, I think it just depends on what you're doing. Like, you could be a doctor and be an entrepreneur. You need to go to medical school. It is what it is. I just think it just depends on what lane you're in and what you're trying to do. You can't do everything within your business. So you definitely going to have to outsource, and you don't want to know everything in your business. You're supposed to always remain a student. So I think that, can you really be a true entrepreneur if you can't be taught anything? So I do think that you do need some form of education. And also you need a team too. Beyonce didn't have no education. She had a great team, though, and she had a great mentor. So I definitely think the team matters too.
I think also when it comes to education, like, I have a master's and it did not prepare me for entrepreneurship. 100%, it did not. It's great to have those things, but it did not prepare me for that. Honestly, it just took, what prepared me for it was the challenges, the goods, the ups, the downs, and you kind of just work your way up from there. But to Tony's point, you know, if you are a business that is more so on the tech side and you are not a tech person, you might want to, you know, try to curate a team that is good at that, you know. And I have a team now, and there's certain things that they do that I'm like, I would have never signed up to do that. So it's just good to, if you don't feel the need to educate yourself on that, curate a team.
And I'll just add too, just real briefly, that, I mean, the formal education, it can help, you know, by being put in those spaces. Again, the networking piece of it. You never know what type of people you're going to meet in those spaces that can help you along your journey. That would be the only thing that I would say that is like a true benefit of the formal education.
Right now. And they're having so much issues, right? And with the experience you had with them, I can say they are lacking the process of running that business, which is making them, you know, have those issues they are having.
Yeah, so I definitely think, not just with them in general, a lot of people don't understand all the aspects, everything it takes to run a business, you know? Like, I could use them as an example. They do great work, amazing work. Okay, sorry, let me catch you guys up to speed. Somebody hit my car. I took my car to go get fixed at this body shop, and they did great work, okay? But my issue with them was, when they fixed my car, they lost a piece. So, like, I have a wheel on the back of my car, and it has like a screw, and they lost that screw. And we was at the shop for like 3 hours trying to find the screw. And us looking for that screw, I didn't care how good of work they did anymore. I was just upset. You know what I mean? And even just the whole process of how they're running the whole operation, I could tell that these guys aren't busy like that. They do great work, but they don't have someone there that could take their business to the next level. you know. So I think that's kind of what you was trying to say. Like, I think the operator of the business definitely matters, because give me that business. It would be crazy.
It's almost like the difference between a manager and a leader, right? You know, you can hire somebody to manage the day-to-day operations of your business, but then a leader is the person who, you know, kind of sees the business 5, 10, 15 years from now, and it kind of deals with the things that are not so tangible, right? You know, like the customer service piece, like, okay, we need to make sure we're doing this perfect every single time, because this is what's going to get us from just running a standard business to being a really great business.
So for me, I can, what I understood from your question was the act of doing a business versus running a business. So I'm on both sides of the scales. I do have a 9-to-5, and I am somewhat an entrepreneur as well. However, I realized in entrepreneurship, some of the things that I was going for in the beginning wasn't necessarily for me. So what did I do? I became an angel investor. I don't run anybody's business, but I help fuel their business monetarily. So that's one part that I see myself in.
Thank you for that.
And to come back to your point too, it's just a matter of, I think people, kind of to Mike's point, like you would rather do business with somebody that you enjoy working with, even if their product isn't as good. So I think sometimes that you definitely want to make sure that your product or your service, whatever you have, is solid, but also make sure that your delivery, your people skills, and how you interact with your clients is solid as well, because that's really what's going to bring people consistently through your door. They'll choose you if they really enjoy you as a person, even if your work is not as good as somebody else.
Hey, y'all. So I actually have 2 questions. The first one is most important, though. So when you started your business while working your 9-to-5, I'm pretty sure most of you are multi-passionate, multi-talented. What is your advice on choosing which passion you put all your focus on in order to start a business?
I think when you start your business, this is one thing that I had to learn. I had to hear about it the hard way. You have to focus on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot pour into a million different cups and then think they're all just going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really funnel one thing, and then once that one thing grows, then you can start going into different things. I think a lot of us, we feel like we could do everything. Like I was doing the school, clients, products, e-commerce, trying to do government kind of stuff. I was doing a million things, and all you do is burn yourself out. And then when you burn yourself out, you got to reignite that in you, and that takes forever. So I just feel like just start with one thing. You might be Mick Jagger. You might love a million things, but just do that one thing. Just start with that one thing and pour into that.
My mom always said, "Jack of all trades, master of none."
But it's better than a master of one.
You got master one.
I'll just say too, I think we get caught up on trying to grow all these different trees, but I think kind of to what Ivory said, you have your one thing and you try to juice like as much as you can out of it in different areas. So for me, like I'm a plant-based chef, so I enjoy public speaking as well. So I go out and I talk to people about holistic health, but that's still underneath my umbrella of my main business. I do virtual cooking demonstrations for clients. I enjoy writing, so I have cookbooks. You know what I mean? But that all still falls under the same umbrella. So it's just a matter of figuring out how to utilize your different talents under that one umbrella so you don't stretch yourself too thin.
And also, for whatever reason, it should be something that kind of comes natural to you, something that doesn't require too much effort. Like you enjoy doing it. Like I like doing this because I'm pretty good at it. And now let me see if I can monetize it, and then.
I want to say, everybody on there, you guys did amazing. Thank you so much for your inputs.
Thank you.
But I have one question. I don't know if I should call this cap, but I know it's not cap. But I want you guys to be very open with me, right? Mike, you have maybe 10 other guys in the same business that you do. Ivory, you say you got 800 people doing lashes. Now, however, we all know business is it's not for you to be nice. All right. Yes, I know we gotta help people, but let's be honest, right? I want you guys to be very honest with me. When it comes to people that having 800 people or a lot of people in the same space as you, maybe in the same vicinity as you, what do you do to stand out? Now at that point, do you still gatekeep? Because Mike and I'm sorry, what's your name, brother? Tony. All right. Why I say that is because your time is valuable, right? And at the same time, if I cannot hold you down, the best thing for me to do is pay for your knowledge. You know what I mean? Because that's the only thing I can offer you. I can't do anything for you because you're already a millionaire and I'm trying to get to your level. So for you to like maybe give me some piece of your time, I think money is gonna be the only thing to like maybe give you like maybe a sit down with me or something. You know what I mean?
It helps, but it's
right?
not the biggest
Yeah.
motivator.
Not the biggest,
To
but
answer your
something.
first question, you mentioned if you're in a field and there's multiple people doing what you're doing, how do you differentiate yourself? First off, if you are competing with people in your own city, you've already failed. That is a defeating mindset.
100%.
Defeating mindset. This is a global economy. Like, even outside of it, I always say 2 things people can't replicate: your ingenuity, which is your mind, and your effort. That's hard work. They will never be able to replicate that. So congratulate the person for what they're doing. I wish you well, but Tony's doing this. You know what I mean? That's it. That's just my, viewpoint on, what, people in the same space. Mike and I both do real estate. I'm building a house in Dallas right now. He's not my competitor. We're gonna probably exchange ideas on how we're going to do things differently. You know what I mean? So, or the same. So.
But also, a little competition, it never hurts, okay? So we're not going to sit here and act like, we're having friendly competition here. I think it could be 800 last checks, but there's only one Ivory. That's just how I see it. And there's nothing wrong with being confident and a little bit of competition. It goes a long way.
You have to also understand, like, just because you're in the same industry doesn't mean that you guys have the same clientele. Doesn't mean that you're aiming for the same thing. Me and my husband are both in food. He does barbecue. I don't want to touch the pit. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm more so into more intimate spaces. He probably likes more public, and that's fine. But it doesn't mean that he's my competitor. You know what I'm saying? And I also need us to remember, like, when you're going, like if you're driving out inside the loop, you're going to see at least one intersection has like 6 fast food restaurants in one intersection. Like, and none of them are over there wondering, oh, how many people were in that drive-through over here? They're just, the drive-through's open for whoever wants to eat. So I think that as people, like, we need to get out of our heads thinking that, we are in competition with one another because we're in the same industry. We don't have the same niche, and it's only one of you.
And control the controllable. Sorry, Mike. The things you control it. Customer service every time. Do it the best you can. You know what I mean? Even if that means you lose money on a transaction, that's fine. That person walks away happy, right? Yeah. That's just in business. Always control the things you control. The other things you can't control, you don't get bogged down with it. It's just a defeating mindset.
You see, I look at business like sports, kind of. You know what I mean? In the NFL, you have all these teams. You have all these quarterbacks. But there's only one Tom Brady. There's only one top guy. You know what I mean? So you can have all these people in your industry. They're just not going to do it how you do it. You just have to be the best. And when you focus on being the best at it, you don't care who's coming to join the industry. You know what I mean? That's how I see it.
One last.
All right, everyone. That is all the time that we have. How did everyone feel about the Break the Code session that we had? Yes! I'm super glad that you all came together and that we spoke and gave our perspectives and all the questions that went around. Let's give our panelists one more round of applause, one final time. We appreciate you all for coming out. Thank you all for supporting the engine and our endeavors. This was not an easy process for all of us. Thank you for the ones who traveled out from Dallas to Houston. I do want to let you guys know that we would love for you to follow us on social media. The engine on Instagram and Twitter. Again, thank you to everyone who came out. And as always, like a car, without the engine, we don't move. Good night, everyone.